The Culling Game turns Jujutsu Kaisen into a deadly battle royale, where every fight reveals who these characters really are. This arc isn't just about flashy techniques or epic domains. It pits ancient sorcerers against modern prodigies, throws newly awakened players into life or death battles, and forces everyone to face what they're truly fighting for. Warriors question their purpose, broken men seek redemption, and legends chase what they've always wanted. Today, I'm ranking the 6 best fights of the Culling Game, and we'll see what makes a fight truly unforgettable. Which battle will top the list? Let's break it down. At number 6, we have Maki versus Cursed Spirit Naoya. For context, Naoya died back in the Perfect Preparation arc, but his hatred and resentment toward Maki was so intense that he came back as a vengeful curse. He's faster, stronger, and more dangerous than before because now he's using projection sorcery as a cursed spirit, something that shouldn't even be possible. The fight starts with Naoya absolutely terrorizing Sakurajima Colony. His speed is insane, and his new cursed form makes him nearly untouchable. Maki shows up with Noritoshi Kamo, and they immediately realize this isn't the same Naoya they fought before. He's blitzing through the battlefield, and even Kamo, a grade 1 sorcerer, can barely keep up. And what makes this fight interesting is how Maki approaches it. She's already killed the entire Zenin clan and unlocked Heavenly Restriction like Toji, but she's missing something: the ability to perceive the flow of cursed energy without sensing it. When Daido shows up with the Soul Split Katana and starts fighting Naoya, Maki realizes what she's been lacking. She watches how Daido reads the flow of battle, how he anticipates attacks through pure instinct, and understands she needs to evolve further. Then comes the sumo match. Mio pulls Maki into his simple domain, where time dilates, and this is where Maki has her breakthrough. She stops trying to fight like a sorcerer and starts trusting her body completely. When she steps back out, she's different. She can perceive the flow of cursed energy through pure instinct now, predict movements before they happen, read the environment like Toji did, and her combat instincts have finally reached that level. The final exchange is brutal. Naoya tries to blitz her with his top speed, but Maki reads every move. She counters his projection sorcery, slices through his cursed form, and puts him down for good. It's pure catharsis, Maki dismantling the physical manifestation of the Zenin clan's hatred. At number 5, we have Megumi versus Reggie Star. Megumi enters the Culling Game with one goal: to earn enough points to add a rule that lets him save Tsumiki. He's colder than we've ever seen him, more ruthless, and willing to do whatever it takes. Reggie Star is a reincarnated sorcerer who's been running Shibuya Colony like a gang leader, and he's got the points Megumi needs. Reggie's curse technique is contractual recreation, which lets him summon anything that has a receipt: cars, buildings, weapons, you name it. In the modern era, that's incredibly versatile. The fight starts with Megumi walking into Reggie's trap, surrounded by his crew, but Megumi doesn't panic. He uses a combination of strategic planning and his Shikigami to stealthily take out Reggie's allies one by one, and when they realize what's happening, it's already too late. The battle escalates when Reggie starts dropping cars on Megumi from above, using his technique to overwhelm him with sheer mass. Megumi counters by flooding the area with shadows, making the entire battlefield his domain. Then Reggie pulls out an entire house and he drops it on Megumi, and for a second it looks like it's over. But Megumi uses the weight against him, letting the building sink into his shadows and then launching it back. The turning point comes when Megumi expands his incomplete domain expansion, Chimera Shadow Garden. It doesn't have a sure hit effect, but it gives Megumi the environment he needs. Shadows everywhere, Shikigami moving freely, and Reggie's receipt-based technique becomes harder to manage in the chaos. But Reggie isn't done. He uses a binding vow to summon something massive, forcing Megumi into a corner. And this is where Megumi's growth shines. He's been hiding Divine Dog this entire time, making Reggie think it was destroyed early in the fight. When Reggie commits everything to one final attack, Megumi brings it back and strikes from the blind spot, and it's over. What makes this fight work is the constant back and forth. Megumi isn't stronger than Reggie in raw power, but he's smarter. He plans 3 steps ahead, uses his environment, and isn't afraid to take risks. The fight proves that Megumi has embraced the selfishness Gojo told him he needed. He's not hesitating anymore, and he's willing to play dirty to win. This ranks at number 5 because it's a perfect tactical battle. It's Megumi's last major solo fight before Sukuna takes over, and it shows just how far he's come since the Shibuya incident arc. My only issue is that I wish we'd gotten one more big Megumi fight after this, but for what it is, this is excellent. At number 4, we have Yuji versus Higuruma. Higuruma is a former defense attorney who became a sorcerer 2 weeks ago and has already racked up 200 points in the Culling Game. His curse technique, Deadly Sentencing, is one of the most broken abilities in the series. He pulls you into his domain, puts you on trial, and if you're found guilty, he can either take away your cursed technique or execute you on the spot. Yuji enters this fight carrying the guilt of Shibuya. Even though Sukuna was the one who killed thousands of people, Yuji still feels responsible. So when Higuruma's domain activates and puts him on trial for the Shibuya incident, Yuji doesn't fight it. He accepts the charges. The fight itself starts brutal. Higuruma's judgment Shikigami acts as the judge, and the trial begins. Yuji is accused of the mass murder in Shibuya, and the evidence is presented. Normally, Higuruma would just take away the defendant's cursed technique and finish them off with the executioner's sword. But here's the problem. Yuji doesn't have an innate cursed technique. Judgment skips that option entirely and confiscates his cursed energy instead. Now, Yuji is fighting without any cursed energy reinforcement, but he's still superhuman. The hand-to-hand combat between them is raw and grounded. Higuruma swings the gavel, his normal weapon, and tries to crush Yuji, but Yuji weaves through the attacks and counters with pure physical strength. Higuruma realizes quickly that even without cursed energy, Yuji is dangerous. The battle shifts when Yuji forces a retrial. He uses Higuruma's own domain rules against him, and this is where the fight becomes more than just physical. Yuji isn't running from his guilt. He confronts it head-on, and that breaks something in Higuruma. Higuruma has been telling himself that the world is just darkness, that trying to see good in people is pointless, and that he was right to give up on justice. But watching Yuji, someone who suffered even worse than him still trying to do the right thing, makes Higuruma question everything. When judgment gives Yuji the death penalty and Higuruma is about to execute him with the cursed tool, he hesitates. The final moment is quiet. Higuruma admits that killing someone earlier in the Culling Game didn't feel good like he told himself it did. It felt awful. He sees himself in Yuji, a good person crushed by circumstances beyond their control, and he can't go through with it. He backs off, lets Yuji have the points, and starts his path back toward the person he used to be. This fight ranks 4th because it's the most character-driven battle in the arc. The action is solid, but the real fight is ideological. Yuji doesn't just win physically. He reminds Higuruma that there's still light in the world, even when everything feels dark. It's a quiet, emotional victory, and it's one of the best written fights in the series. At number 3, we have Yuki and Choso versus Kenjaku at the Tomb of the Star. The stakes here are massive. If Kenjaku wins, he gets Tengen, and his plan to merge humanity with curse energy moves forward. If Yuki and Choso win, they stop him here and save the world. The fight starts with a conversation. Choso confronts Kenjaku, the man who created him and his brothers as curse womb experiments. Kenjaku explains his goals calmly, admitting that he's been doing all of this just for fun, just to see what happens. That's all Choso needs to hear. This isn't his father. This is a monster. Choso attacks first, using blood manipulation at its highest level. He's combining techniques from all his brothers who died in Shibuya, and their spirits are fighting alongside him. Piercing blood, constructs, everything he has. Kenjaku counters with curse spirit manipulation, summoning multiple special grade level curses and using them as shields and weapons. Then Yuki joins in. Her technique, Star Rage lets her manipulate mass, and when she punches, it's with the force of a collapsing star. She one-shots Garuda, a special grade curse, in a single strike. The impact sends shockwaves through the tomb. Kenjaku is forced to take her seriously. The three-way battle is chaotic. Choso attacking from range, Yuki crushing everything in her path, and Kenjaku adapting on the fly. Kenjaku expands his domain expansion, Womb Profusion. It's a guaranteed hit domain that traps them inside and starts breaking them down. Yuki tanks the sure hit effect through sheer toughness and keeps fighting. She's not healing herself with reverse curse technique because she's saving her energy for the final move. Choso is struggling, and Kenjaku weaponizes their family connection, using gravity manipulation to redirect Choso's blood attacks and turning every strike into a psychological wound. The reminder that Kenjaku created him, experimented on his brothers, and discarded them like test subjects gnaws at Choso with every exchange. But Choso doesn't break. He keeps pushing, even when it's clear that he can't win. The battle reaches its climax when Yuki manifests a black hole in a desperate attempt to annihilate Kenjaku. She uses Star Rage to manipulate her own mass, collapsing into a singularity that should pull Kenjaku in and crush him. It's a suicide move, but she's willing to make that sacrifice. Kenjaku counters with anti-gravity, a technique he's been hiding this entire time. It's the perfect counter to Yuki's mass manipulation, and it stops the black hole from reaching him. Yuki dies in the attempt, Master Tengen gets captured, and Choso barely escapes with his life. As Choso stumbles away from the collapsing tomb, Yuki's final words echo in his mind. She tells him that Choso the Curse has paid his price and died here, but Choso, the human, Yuji's older brother, still has work to do. He escapes alone, carrying that message forward. It's the perfect send-off for Choso's redemption arc. This fight ranks third because the emotional weight is crushing. Yuki proves she's on a different level as a special grade, and Choso gets closure for everything he did in Shibuya. And the only reason this fight isn't higher is because the execution is messy in places. Kenjaku having the perfect counter feels convenient, and we didn't get enough time with Yuki before this to make her death hit as hard as it should. But the fight itself? It's brutal, emotional, and one of the most important battles in the series. At number 2. So at number 2, it's Hakari versus Kashimo, and this fight is pure hype from start to finish. Kashimo is a 400-year-old sorcerer who made a binding vow to reincarnate in the modern era just to fight Sukuna. But when he hears that Hakari is one of the strongest fighters at Jujutsu High, he decides to test him first. The fight starts fast. Kashimo's curse energy has a lightning property, meaning every hit he lands electrocutes his opponent. He's incredibly efficient, never wasting a single movement, and his combat speed is ridiculous. Hakari counters by immediately expanding his domain, Idle Death Gamble. His domain is a literal pachinko machine, and if he hits a jackpot, he gets 4 minutes and 11 seconds of unlimited curse energy and automatic reverse curse technique. Basically, he becomes immortal for that time. The problem? It's pure luck. Hakari can't control when he hits the jackpot, so every domain expansion is a gamble. The first round starts, and Hakari gets his jackpot. For the next 4 minutes and 11 seconds, he's in unkillable mode. Kashimo tries everything: lightning-enhanced strikes, precision attacks aimed at vital points, but Hakari just keeps healing, so Kashimo switches tactics. He decides to kill Hakari before the 4 minutes are up, just to prove he can. The environment becomes part of the fight. They're battling in a shipping yard, and Hakari starts using the containers as weapons. He slams one into Kashimo, who counters by blasting through it with curse energy. They chase each other across the battlefield, hopping over cursed spirits in the nearby ocean, and the action doesn't stop. Kashimo gets more excited as the fight goes on. He hasn't had a battle like this in 400 years, and he's loving it. When Hakari's immortality runs out, Kashimo expects him to panic. But Hakari just expands his domain again and keeps gambling. Another jackpot. And another. The final exchange comes when Kashimo uses his ultimate move to turn Hakari's body into a conductor and detonates his cursed energy from the inside through electrolysis. It's a massive explosion that should kill anyone. Hakari survives by making a binding vow. He sacrifices his left arm to focus all the damage there, keeping his brain intact long enough to heal with reverse cursed technique. When the smoke clears, both fighters are exhausted but smiling. Kashimo admits he enjoyed the fight more than he expected, and Hakari's infectious personality wins him over. Kashimo agrees to ally with Jujutsu High, not because he cares about their cause, but because Hakari gave him something he'd been missing, a fight worth remembering. This fight earns the number 2 spot because it's pure hype from start to finish. The action never slows down, the techniques are wildly creative, and every exchange feels unpredictable. Honestly, on another day, this could have taken the top spot, but the fight at number 1 hits harder, lasts longer, and escalates into something even more intense. That's the only reason this one stops just short of first place. And now, the fight that takes the number 1 spot is Sukuna versus Yorozu. Just kidding, you already knew that wasn't happening, because on paper, Sukuna versus Yorozu looks huge, but there's no real tension. The fight is one-sided from the start, and without meaningful build-up, it never earns a spot in the ranking. But the fight that truly takes the crown is Yuta Okkotsu against the Sendai Colony Battle Royale, and this is the absolute peak of the Culling Game Arc. Sendai Colony has been trapped in a 4-way deadlock between some of the strongest reincarnated sorcerers: Takako Uro, Ryu Ishigori, Kuro Rushi, and Dhruv Lakdawala. None of them can overwhelm the others, so the entire colony has turned into a non-stop war zone. And then, Yuta shows up. The fight starts with Yuta one-shotting Dhruv off-screen. For context, Dhruv conquered an entire archipelago by himself and had a domain so large that the other 3 couldn't even move when it was active. Yuta takes him out before we even see the fight. That immediately tells us Yuta is on a completely different level than he was in JJK 0. The first real fight is against Kurorushi, a special grade cockroach curse. Kurorushi is disgusting and terrifying. It swarms enemies, devours humans in seconds, and regenerates constantly. Yuta fights it while holding back his full power because he doesn't want Uro and Ishigori to know how strong he is yet. The battle with Kurorushi is tense. It towers over Yuta, mandibles snapping, trying to crush and consume him. Yuta dodges through the swarm, counters with precise strikes, and uses Rika strategically, but he's clearly restraining himself. When Kurorushi lunges for the kill, Yuta finally stops holding back. Channeling his reverse curse technique, he floods Kurorushi's body with positive energy, dismantling its cursed structure in one unstoppable, devastating burst. The special grade curse is completely exorcised. Then Uro and Ishigori step in. Takako Uro is a former assassin who was framed and executed in her past life. She sees Yuta as someone from a blessed bloodline, and she wants to kill him to prove her freedom. Her technique, sky manipulation, lets her bend space itself. She can grab the sky like a sheet and use it as a shield, redirect attacks, and even crush opponents by folding space around them. Ryu Ishigori is the opposite. He was born with the highest curse energy output in history, so strong that nothing in his era could challenge him. Now he just wants a fight that makes him feel alive. His technique, curse energy discharge, is pure destruction of massive beams of energy that level everything in their path. The three-way battle is pure chaos. Uro twists the battlefield with sky manipulation, Ishigori rains down massive energy blasts, and Yuta is darting between them, dodging, countering, and keeping up with both using Rika and his copied techniques. The choreography is insane. Buildings getting destroyed, the environment constantly shifting, and all three fighters adapting in real time. Yuta realizes quickly that he can't reason with Uro. She'll never listen to someone she sees as blessed. But Ishigori? Yuta understands him. Ishigori just wants a satisfying fight, so instead of ending it quickly, Yuta gives him what he's looking for. He fights at full power, pushing Ishigori to his limits. Just when the battle seems under control, Kururushi returns, surviving Yuta's earlier attack, swarming the battlefield and adding chaos. The climax is the three-way domain expansion. Uro, Ishigori, and Yuta all expand their domains at the same time. The clash is so intense that none of the domains can maintain their barriers, and they all collapse. But even that failed clash is hype because it shows that all three of them are operating on the same level. In the final exchange, Yuta's superior curse energy reserves, combat experience, and clever use of copied techniques allow him to outmaneuver his opponents. First, he strikes Kururushi, exercising the cockroach curse once and for all. Then he defeats Uro and focuses on Ishigori, landing precise finishing blows that end the fight without taking away Ishigori's pride. When it's over, Yuta stands victorious, but respectful. He gave Ishigori the fight he wanted, and proved to Uro that true strength isn't determined by bloodline. This fight ranks number 1 because it does everything perfectly. Every character has clear motivations. The action is top tier, creative techniques, environmental destruction, and constant tactical evolution. And the emotional payoff lands because Yuta doesn't just overpower them, he understands them. And that's the ranking of 6 incredible fights from the Culling Game Arc. From Maki's transformation to Yuta's battle royale, this arc gave us some of the most creative and meaningful combat in the entire series.